Hello CraftDee family, and welcome to another tutorial by She's So CraftDee. For today's DIY project, we will be creating this beautiful two-tier shelf with bins inspired by an item that I saw at the Pottery Barn for over $200. Now when I saw that piece, I knew I could use it in so many ways and even alter it to make it even more functional. Now this would be the perfect challenge for me to recreate using items from the Dollar Tree and some low-cost items from my local home improvement store. Now as always, all of the projects I create have the complete supply list in the description box, so you can easily use it for reference as you gather your supplies. Now I am so very excited to share this tutorial with you, but before we start I have to say hey to all of my subscribers, and if you're a new visitor to my channel today, I hope you consider subscribing as well and stick around to enjoy these crafts and all of the different ways that I'll show you how to style these in your space. So now let's just jump right into the projects. Now here is my inspiration photo for this project today. Now I thought that this item was so stylish and it would fit perfectly into my space. But like most things that I love, I really didn't want to spend over $200 for something that I could possibly make. So I drafted out a plan to make my own version and then headed to my Dollar Tree and my home improvement store to grab up some supplies. Now for this project, we were going to need 2 hard side gift boxes from the Dollar Tree. Now I found these in the party section of the Dollar Tree, and there are so many sizes and designs to choose from. And the boxes that I used are 11¼ inches by 8 inches. Now we're also going to need 2 10-packs of the 1-gallon paint stir sticks from Lowe's for 98 cents. We're going to need 2 1x2 wood pieces from the Home Depot, and these are sold in 8-foot lengths for about $1.78 each, and we're going to need 1 2-pack of Hinges for about $1.50. Okay, we're going to start off with those boxes. Go ahead and remove the lids and set those to the side, and we're going to work on the main boxes. Now the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and put a coat of primer on the inside and outside of both of the boxes. Now once that does dry, we are going to actually paint it with our final coat, and we will be using some elephant gray acrylic paint for the color of our bins. I think this looks so much like cement, so I am going to use this color to replicate what the Pottery Barn project looked like. So I'm just going to put some in the inside and just start spreading it around evenly. Now you want to do 1 to 2 coats, whatever your preference is, and you want to first do the insides of both of the boxes. Now once both sides are done and they're almost dry, you can go ahead and flip them over, and then we can paint the exterior as well. Now I'm going to be painting the bottoms of the boxes and also the sides. Just go ahead and apply a generous coat of that elephant gray spray paint, acrylic paint, and then just let that completely dry. Now while that dries, we're going to work on our wood. So we are going to have our wood cut, and we're going to cut 4 pieces at 23 inches. And we're also going to cut about 6 pieces, and we're going to cut these at 12 inches. Now, if you don't have a means to cut the wood, most home improvement stores will do this for you. So I'm going to go ahead and protect my work surface and grab my long and short pieces, and also unpackage those wood paint stir sticks. Now I usually would paint with my Jacobian Mim Wax stain, but it's a little bit too dark for my inspiration, so I am just going to use my Waverly antique wax, which is a little lighter. So I'm just going to add some to my cloth and then spread it on the cloth. Now I like to use a cloth to apply it because I'm applying the wax and removing it at the same time, but you can use a paintbrush or foam brush or whatever you feel you like. You just want to make sure that you remove a layer of the wax after you apply it. Now you're going to complete this for the entire stick, including both of the ends, and this is what the completed coverage will look like on one of your pieces. Now you're going to complete this for the remaining of your longer sticks, and here are all 4 of those completely done. Now for the 12-inch sticks, we are just going to stain them the same way, just making sure you get all the sides, including the ends, and here are all those done. And then we're going to stain our stir sticks as well, and we're going to get both sides and the ends of those. Now here are all of our sticks all nice and stained, and you want to let these dry for about a half an hour. Okay, so now that our sticks are all nice and dry, we can start putting together our shelf. So I'm going to grab 3 of the 12-inch sticks, and I'm going to grab 2 of those 23-inch sticks. Now this will make one side of our ladder style shelf. So I'm going to sit those long sticks up on the shorter side, and I want to space them apart about 12 inches, which is about the length of one of our shorter sticks. Now I'm going to place 3 of those sticks in between those 2 longer sticks. You're going to have one near the bottom, you're going to have one almost near the center, and then you're going to have one level with the top of the piece. Now I'm just messing around with the placement here, but my final decision on the placement ended up being 3 inches from the bottom on that first piece, and then the middle piece is 10 inches from that bottom piece. You just want to make sure there is a 10-inch gap between that, and then just apply that top piece. So once everything is in place, I am going to use my hot glue to actually temporarily secure it in place. Now you could definitely use wood glue, but I'm going to use hot glue because I will be making an adjustment later and I need it to be able to shift slightly. So I just want to put the tiniest bit of hot glue, just a small little bead on there, and then once that's on there, I'm going to apply it right back in place at that 3-inch mark. Now again, this is just for a temporary hold until we secure these with screws, so there's no need to put an excessive amount of glue. We're going to repeat this for that center one as well, just putting a dot of hot glue and then securing that one right there 10 inches apart from the first one, and then having that done on that last piece as well. Now you can add a generous amount to the last piece because this one will not need to be adjusted at the end, but we want to make sure it's nice and level with the top of your ladder rack. Now once all 3 of those pieces are on there, we can go ahead and apply glue to the other end and then apply the other side. And now this is all glued together. It holds together pretty well just with this temporary adhesion, but then we're going to go ahead and grab our other pieces and we're going to complete another side of the rack. Now I think the best way to get the exact frame and size is to actually lay the other pieces directly on top of the piece that you just made. This way there won't be any discrepancies between both pieces and the shelves will line up really even, and I'm just laying them right on top just like I did the first one, and then what I'm going to do is glue it all together. So here are our 2 pieces all nice and glued together, and they're ready to be secured. So I broke out my hardware box and I wanted to choose some screws for this. So I'm going with the number 6 2-inch wood screw to place in the side of my rack. Now to apply these wood screws, I am going to be applying them right through the side of the rack all the way down and placing one everywhere a piece of wood intersects. Now of course, if you have more advanced power tools such as a pocket hole tool or a brad nailer, you can definitely use those, but this by far is the easiest way to do it, and since all of our hardware on this will be a brass color, the screws will blend in very well. So you want to drill one of those pilot holes at each one of those intersections on both sides of your ladder rack, and once your pilot holes are drilled, I am going to place in one of those wood screws in each one of those holes. Now I like to start by hand threading it in just to make sure it's nice and straight, and then I'm going to screw it in. Now note, when you do screw these in, you don't want to screw them all the way down and tight. We will make a slight adjustment towards the end, so you want to screw it almost down flush to the wood, but you want to leave just the tiniest gap there so you will be able to make an adjustment. So here are all the screws in the side of the ladder rack on both sides, and now you're just going to grab your other piece and you are going to drill pilot holes in that one as well, and then place your screws to secure it. And here are both of our pieces with our screws in place, and now we could start to hook them together. So this is where our hinges come into play, so I'm going to go ahead and remove those from the packages. Now these hinges are 1.5 inch and they have a brassy tone to match our screws. So you can see you open up the hinge and then it forms an L shape, but then when you close it, it's flush together. Now what we're going to do when we join these together, we want to make sure the two flush sides are between the top of the ladder rack as shown here, with the hinge sticking out of the top. Now it's very important that you place it this way so your rack will function correctly. So I'm going to place each one of the hinges about 2.5 inches in from the sides. Now the side that you bond this to will be the inside of your ladder rack. So I'm going to just place one on each side, and then I am going to put a dot of hot glue. This is only to hold the hinge in the place that I want it until I can get it screwed into place. This is in no way securing the hinge in place. You're definitely going to need to screw these together. So you're just going to put a dot of hot glue on each side, secure one of the hinges on each side as shown here. So once those are adhered into place, you want to go ahead and grab the screws that came with your hinges, and you're going to apply 2 of the screws in those holes on your hinge on each side. Now you don't need to drill pilot holes to this. These screws are actually fairly small, so these will screw right into your wood and you don't have to worry about any splitting. So you want to repeat this for both sides until your hinge is nice and secure to one side of the rack. So now that that's done, you are going to grab the inside of your other rack at the top, and you're going to lay the other piece on top with the loose part of the hinge so you could connect it to the other side at the top as shown here. Now again, we are putting a dot of hot glue on the back of that hinge, and we are going to temporarily secure it in place on the inside of the other side of the rack, making sure that it's nice and even. Just press it in place until it grabs on. Then once it does grab on, go ahead and grab those screws that came with the hinges and screw them into place. And now your 2 sides of your rack are nice and secure, and you can see that the hinge functions flawlessly. And you can see the top of the hinge is on the top of the ladder rack, just like it's supposed to be. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm taking my ladder rack and I'm laying it on the side just to show you guys how I'm going to space this out. So what we want to do is open up the ladder rack looking like the letter A, and what we want to do is space it out with 11 inches between the inside of each leg. This is how wide your ladder rack will be. Now I'm laying it down for demonstration purposes, but to actually put this on, you want your ladder rack actually standing up for the best result. So I've stood mine up and I actually taped it to my mat and make sure it does not shift. So I have all the legs spaced out 11 inches standing up on my mat. Now, if you look inside, you'll see that those cross pieces are slanting inwards. This is why we did not screw our screws all the way in. So we can go ahead and adjust this. Now, all you have to do is just hand bend or hand turn those wood pieces until they are nice and flat. Now, to make sure that these are nice and flat, I'm taking my level and just making sure that everything is nice and even, and make any adjustments just by hand turning that wood. Now, once it is hand turned it into place, you can go ahead and screw it in nice and tight, but you do want to make sure this is level. Now, you do want to do this for the top one as well. Just hand turn that wood. It should be easy to turn since you didn't screw it in all the way. And then once it is nice and turned and level, you can screw those sides in as well. Okay, once we secured everything in, we are going to grab our paint sticks. Now, for the bottom, we are going to lay those paint sticks with the numbered side down, and when we lay them across the bottom rails, we are going to rotate where the handle is. For each one, we're just going to rotate it in place. Now, these should fit perfectly across these 2 pieces of wood if you spaced it out 11 inches. And we're going to continue this all the way across until all 10 paint sticks are nice and spaced evenly as shown here. So now we're going to get ready to secure these. Now you can use your wood stick hot glue if you want to, but I'm going to choose to use wood glue for this so I can make any adjustments to the slats as I add my pieces on. So I'm in the process of adding them now, and I'm just adding a line of that wood glue right on that wood, and then I'm pressing one of the paint sticks in place. Now if your spacing gets a little wonky as you go, the wood glue will actually give you more working time to adjust it. That's why I chose to use wood glue. Now we're just going to repeat the same thing on the top, but when you put your paint stick on, you'll notice it is too long to go across, and this is where we will actually be cutting these paint sticks down. So what I did is line it up with one end and then take my pencil and then make a mark where the other end of the wood is. Now this ended up being about 7 inches for me, but I don't suggest you cut the wood beforehand just in case your wood varies in size. So what I did is stack all of my wood pieces up, taped them together, and took them out to my saw and sawed it out at 7 inches. And then for that raw end, I'm just taking the rag that I stained with my antique wax before, and I'm just going to stain the end of those pieces as well. And there they are, nice and stained and ready to go. So now all we have to do is just lay these out, making sure the numbered side is down, and then we're going to evenly space them and wood glue them into place the same way we did for that first level. And once they're all glued into place, here's what they look like. You want to let this sit for at least an hour or two so everything is bonded nice and secure. And here are my sticks all nice and bonded together, and here is the shelf. I love the slatted levels. I think it turned out really, really nice. Now here is the view from the side of the shelf as well. And you can see it's completely reversible, so you could show either side. And then for the Pottery Barn Dupe, we have these little shelves. You're just going to sit these boxes right on top of the shelves for the dupe version. And now all you have to do is decorate. And here it is, you guys. Now I absolutely love how this shelf unit turned out. Now these ladder style shelves are so versatile, and the Pottery Barn didn't disappoint with their design. Now I love the idea of using these cement stone looking boxes to hold all of your trinkets and decor too. And this warm color of the wood is the perfect contrast to the containers. Now I love these boxes, and they're nice and deep to hold all kinds of items in your space. Now these were advertised as plant stands, but I just had to make this a multi-purpose piece. Now for my piece, I made the containers completely removable instead of fixed, and I added wood slats as another option to your two-tier shelf. Now I just love the spa-like vibes from this, and this version would be perfect for your bathroom. You guys have to be sure to let me know if you love this design. Now if you love DIYs on a budget, please give me a thumbs up and share this video with your friends. Make sure that you're following She's So Crafty EE on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and TikTok for the latest news, sneak peeks, and giveaways. Now, if you like videos like these and don't want to miss the next one, make sure you're subscribed. Just click my name on your screen and make sure you hit that bell to be notified. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.